Hello there, and welcome to the CP7 podcast. My name's Palm.
And I'm Andy.
And together, we are Chrono Passion 7. Hello, and welcome back to your favourite watch-related podcast. We're doing an Unplugged today. It's been a while. We've had a bit of an unplanned break. But with Father's Day coming up in the UK, we thought we'd do a show on Geezer watches. So basically, what your dad would wear, or what we would wear because we're pretty old ourselves. But before we do that, Andy, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good. It's good to be back in the podcasting seat. It's been a while, in some respects.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, not so much, right? We've been recording shows in the background. We've just had a few... Well, basically, I came down with COVID, which knocked me out pretty bad for just over a week. I was out of action. So, it's been a few events which have been, let's say, out of our control, unfortunately. And it's put a little halt on the momentum, but we are back and raring to go, I would say.
Bigger and better and raring to go. I, unfortunately, had a bereavement. I lost a very, very close friend of mine quite suddenly as well. So, obviously, I was not in the mood to do anything. As much as I love the show, sometimes life is a lot more important. But we will move on and we will just talk about... Actually, Andy, you went to an event, didn't you? A Moser event?
Yeah, I've actually been relatively busy, COVID aside, once I recovered from that. There was a Moser Alpine event, which was great, over here in Barcelona. It's not often there's a lot of events going on in terms of brands here. Even though we have Red Bar, we have a lot of regular meets. It's good fun meeting local collectors. But getting brands to Barcelona, believe it or not, can be somewhat difficult at times. I don't know why. It's a great location, great weather, great drinks, tapas. Maybe we need to work harder at it. However, there was a great event for the F1, for the Barcelona Grand Prix. It was for the new launch of the Alpine X Moser. There were two watches released. It was the Mechanics Edition and Drivers Edition of the continued collaboration of the Alpine and Moser. Really cool watches. I actually liked the Mechanics Edition the best, which is a connected watch, which is quite bold for, let's say, certainly an independent watch brand to put out there. But I loved how it synced with the race and you were getting live updates on the watch. I just thought that was a really cool touch. And they kept that Moser detail with, at 12 o'clock, you can see the time, the dial, the main time display. And that has that classic, beautiful kind of sunburst finish Moser are so well known for, right? But yeah, both editions really cool. The drivers were there. I'm not a big F1 crazy guy. Maybe I am after the event. So I didn't really know who they were, but there was certainly a huge mob of people outside. It was like paparazzi everywhere. But yeah, had a great time. So thank you to the Moser crew for the invitation. And then, a Zenith event as well last week, which was a lot of fun. Just seeing the new DeFi range and some of the new additions to the El Primero lineup. So had a great time. So a lot going on recently. But how about yourself, Pam? Anything been going on or what's coming up? Any exciting events?
For understandable reasons, I did actually miss quite a few watch events. There's so many going on here. But I did have to skip quite a few. But as it's summer, it's London, it's watch show mania in London this summer. We've got Pietro at the limited edition, has a few events. Him and Oliver, they're always putting on a really great show. You've got London Watch Week, which has got loads of separate segmented events at auction houses, brands. I'm going to one for Oris that's coming up. That'll be an interesting one. Also, Oracle Time, Sam Kester, shout out to Sam Kester. Oracle Time have got their own London watch show called Hands on Horology coming up as well. The watch show scene here is thriving. I've just not been able to go to it. It's just, but I'm going to definitely make up for it over the next few weeks and coming months. What else are we doing? My team, Spurs, the worst team, the team that had never won anything, suddenly have won a trophy. That was amazing. There was a bit of light at the end of the tunnel over the last few weeks. And obviously I was celebrating like crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Importantly, Pam, before we move on, which watch were you wearing when the Spurs won?
Yeah, I was wearing the bluesy because Tottenham wear blue and white, and it's my blue dial watch, my go-to blue dial watch. So yeah, it was the Rolex Submariner bluesy.
Yeah, great piece. And I think one last thing what we've been up to, which could be an influence on the show, is binge watching Miami Vice quite a bit, right? On courtesy of Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
No affiliation or sponsorship. Come on, Amazon, sort it out. That'd be nice.
Yeah, come on, sponsor us. Yeah, but that may have influenced this show and watch purchases.
Yeah, quite possibly.
We're going to break tradition a little bit here. We're going to not do a wristwatch check. Well, we are and we're not, because it may have influenced this show all about Geezer watches. So what is a Geezer watch? A Geezer watch, I always imagine the word came from London. A bit of a geezer was you're a bit of a Jack the Lad. You got something about you. You're a bit of a ducker and a diver. You're a bit cool. You know, you love yourself a bit out there. So I think the Geezer watch, it has to be quite showy. You have to be very confident to wear one. But then a geezer is now interpreted also to mean old man. So it's kind of the watch for an old man that someone of any age can pull off. That's what my interpretation of a geezer is. And that's what the geezer watches we're going to talk about are all about. Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, you summed that up quite well, especially when you said old man. So I'm in various WhatsApp groups, and the last two purchases, which may come up in the show, obviously I've shared in the groups, right? And like everybody always comments like, Andy, I swear, if I didn't know who you were, I'd think you were some old man, like some 60-year-old guy with the watch choices you have, right? So I think that sums it up well as geezer watches. For me also, I see it as a bit like, I don't know, I see it like that old money kind of vibe to these styles of watches as well. But either way, I think it's a bit of a trend right now. Certainly not created by ourselves, I don't believe, but it seems to be kind of
not by us.
Yeah, but it seems to be hot, right? A hot topic. So yeah, shall we?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Shall we just get into it? I reckon.
I just want to add though, it's interesting. Geezer watch, you'd say, looks kind of old worldy. To me, it seems very 1970s, 80s. I mean, because the thing is, I was born in the 70s and grew up in the 80s. And if you're in the 80s, anything 70s was pretty much laughed at. And everyone was trying their hardest to get away from the fashion and the style and everything from then. And I guess in the 90s, everyone was trying to get away from 80s style and 70s style. It just wasn't long enough. Now it's very cool, but it almost seemed a little bit garish, a little bit over the top, a bit too in your face. I almost imagine thinking of that film from the 70s, Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta in the white suit, the black shirt, buttoned down to the... Actually, I'm just looking at Andy, I think.
Yeah, you just described
me. Yeah, maybe your friends are right there. Yeah. But, the old bell-bottom white trousers and white suits and the black shirt. No, he hasn't gone there with he hasn't got the black shirt with the big pointy collars and the
Give me time.
Medallion, yeah. But that, it can also, I think it covers a broad spectrum of outlandish garishness, yet
you are right. Yeah.
But it's small. They're small watches, though. Yeah. I think what takes it all away is they're small watches, which doesn't make it too in your face.
Yeah. They're a bit, lavish, a bit outrageous, but something just very, in this day and time, something quite lovable and likable and cool, something cool about them, at least for me, and I believe as soon as there's a trend around it, certainly for everybody else as well.
It's almost like a secret shame, a guilty pleasure. You just I like that. I shouldn't, but I mean, I've met people who've talked about day dates and they've said, "Oh no, I shouldn't like this. It's very gang." They give me 10 reasons why they shouldn't like it, but you can just tell they love it, and they say, "No, I think it's really cool." And they're like. And then they open up, I love it, it's brilliant, because they've probably heard 50 other people telling them it's an old man's watch. It's like something out of The Godfather, or The Sopranos, or something like that. And not what you'd expect a cool, well-heeled, stylish gentleman to wear.
That's true. I think, just before we really get into it, I think times are changing a little bit in the watch industry. as in terms of what's acceptable. I remember when I first got into watches, like in the industry side or in the community, let's say community, right? And it was all very kind of, well, it was a big sports craze, right? Steel sports, that was everything, what it was all about. And manly sizes, let's say, bigger sizes back then. Like it had to be 40 mil to be accepted almost. And that's how it was visually interpreted, I think, on a lot of social media as well. I think now you're seeing a lot of more people, whether you agree with this trend or not, even wearing something what would be classed as a lady's watch and a man's wearing it now, and people are going almost extreme other side, right? People are just like, you know what, I think this is cool, I'm just going to rock it. And I think that's kind of a healthy state to be in. Like, people are just embracing what they like. And these kind of rules were there a few years, are kind of being broken down now. And I'd say that's good, because it's a passion at the end of the day. And if you want to wear something, you should just wear it if you think it's cool. And that's what I do these days. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think we've covered these, the tiny, the Benoits and the Cartiers.
Yeah, I don't know if we have on the show. I know we have in various mutual
maybe
group
it's in
chats.
Real life. Well, this is a real behind the scenes chat. Then.
I don't know. We talk watches every day.
We must have. Yeah, we talk about everything. We talk everything watches all of the time. But I almost think, and this is one thing I don't like. I know luxury watches are luxury, and they are a luxury item, and they do kind of want, in a way, you express yourself through them, and you want to stand out or blend in, whichever you want to do. But I think when sometimes people go to extremes, they're just trying too hard to stand out, and to me that's a bit of a bugbear of mine. It irks me a little to just
that's. I can understand that. Just
wear a watch. You don't have to define yourself by this. Some people are very cool. The thing is, some people, it really does suit them. They just smash it. But I think some people just, for the sake of it, do it. And I don't get that. I don't get it. To me, that kind of grates on me a little. So the tiny thing is the one that does. If I saw I suppose if you're a movie star, you can do what the hell you want. Yeah. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know what you mean especially with the Cartiers right now, in the celeb world. I don't know, but it kind of, the more you see it, the more you kind of become accepting of it. I'm kind of like, maybe it isn't so bad, the Benoit to wear, like a little bathtub watch by Cartier.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not.
Andy's next watch.
No, I'm not. I don't think I'd go there. I don't think I'd go there. But because I know my confines of what I can pull off and can't pull off. I've learned that. However, the more petite males who rock these, I think some can get away with it. And I'm like, you know what? I couldn't pull that off. But I think that looks kind of cool on that person. And I think that's where it comes in, really. Like, does a watch fit your wrist? And like, depending on the dimension of your wrist, it rather works or it doesn't, depending on how you look, really, as well. If some people can just pull certain things off, and I think I'd look a bit of a wally, even for me, even though I try to pull most things off, but it's a line, right? But yeah, it's interesting.
I don't think that there are people that look really good wearing those watches, but I just think sometimes it's just, when it doesn't go, and it's just, you can tell people are just trying to follow a trend, or not even a trend, just trying to
make a statement.
Look at me. Yeah, that's it. They're just trying to be all look at me, and and the fact that if you mention that watch, they'll be like, oh God, can you believe it? I don't care about what anyone says. I just wear this, and it's just like the fact that you mention you don't care clearly states that you do.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. The people who just rock it because they can do it, fine, go for it. And the ones who do it just for those purposes, it's kind of it's a nick as well for me. I agree.
I'm not against people wearing small watches. I just think it's the attitude, is how you wear it.
It's how it's worn, that, with what intent.
Defines, what exactly, Yeah. That defines, the attitude.
Well summarised.
Right then. So what we're going to do, we're going to open with Geezer watches that we own. So, Andy, this is your wristwatch check and your watch that I own, choice number 1, Geezer watch.
Number 1 is, which I'm wearing on the wrist today is the Chopard St. Moritz in two-tone with a nice diamond set dial factory as well. Quite a rare one with that configuration. Yeah, not for everybody. I'll openly say that. It's the reactions I get on this piece are very varied.
That includes
including
me, by the
Palm,
way.
yeah.
When I first saw that, I was like, "What?"
Are you joking?
I was actually like,
you thought I was
what
taking
on earth are you wearing?
you thought I was taking a mick. I'm gonna
glad
buy
you're
this.
in Barcelona.
But
I don't have to cross the road.
But you know, like for me, I love it. I like how bold it is and how different it is, and I appreciate it's not to everybody's taste. However, the people who, similar to Pam's reaction there, who have then seen it in person in the metal, have all gone, you know what, though, it is a really well made and I can see why you like the watch. Even if it's still not for them, they can appreciate why somebody would like it once they've actually seen it. And that's why I think it's that kind of geezer watch, because it's just so well made. Like the polishing on the gold, it is a statement. It really pops, especially with the diamonds as well, and in sunlight. The way Chopard do the finishing on the metal and the gold, it's superb. Like, it's a pleasure to wear. Very, very flat as well. So flat on the wrist, and the bracelet's very flat. Like, it's a pleasure to wear. It pops in the right way. I don't know. I really like this one.
Yeah, tell us how it looks. I mean, there's a lot to this. Check out the show notes.
Yeah.
Ideal opportunity. Check out the show notes, which are at www.chronopassion7, as in the number 7.com. And you will see Andy's watch and all the watches we're going to talk about today. So check out the show notes on our website. But the look of this watch, it initially is, I mean, when I first saw it, was like, I just don't understand. But Andy, and I'll explain, having seen it over time, I really do like it now.
Oh, well, okay.
But Andy, talk us through what it looks like, because it's very, very different.
So let's drop a little history on the St. Moritz. So at the time, it was created by the third owner at the time of Chopard, which was a Carl Frederick Schoofel, I believe is how you pronounce his name, back in the 1980s. And it was all fitting around that St. Moritz theme, right? So that luxury kind of classy vibe. And he wanted to create a sports watch, but something elegant at the same time to meet the class of people, right? Who would go skiing, right? In St. Moritz. And he went very bold. And I think let's break it down. The case, forget bezel, we'll come to bezel later. If you look at the case, it's almost got an oyster quartz-esque to it in the shape, right? It's got that squared off, angular, not lugs because it's integrated, but it's got that squared off case shape, right? Which is really nice. That it sits so flat, it's extremely thin. Then what changes things up is also it's a unibody, so it's a solid, or what we'd refer to as like a solid block, like one piece. The only way to change the battery in this watch is by taking the screws out of the bezel and then taking the movement and the dial out of the watch from the front of the watch. The back is all completely sealed, which for me is another appealing point because it allows the watch to be very slim and sleek on the wrist. But the polarizing part, I think, especially for Palm and other people, is you have this circular bezel, but then Carl decided to put notches in between each two screws, which gave this kind of strange, funky look, right, to the bezel, which is Marmite. I understand that. You rather love that or you hate it. But what you will find is when you see it in the metal and how it pops and how it looks is, I don't know, I hope the pictures I have taken, I think it captures it better than the first picture I sent to Palm, for example, when I was thinking about buying it. But yeah, it's...
I said no instantly.
Yeah. What else to say? Yeah, it's a grey slate dial, so it's got this very understated dial, but then it's got the diamond indices, which really sparkle in the light. Yeah, I just really like it. It's a really difficult piece to maybe explain in audio, actually, just due to that bezel, but the pictures will be there. And also I'll create a bit of work for myself for the show notes. I'll do a little video as well, so you can just see the profile of the one that it's a unibody and how slim that profile is as well. But yeah, what made you like it more than Palm? I'm curious.
familiarity, just seeing, because Andy sends photos of his watch to us every single day.
Yeah,
so we've got a WhatsApp group, me, him and Martin Green, the third member of the team. And I get, the more you see something, the more you kind of think, okay, all right.
You get the vibe a bit more.
It's just, I get the vibe. I think it'd be nicer to see it in the flesh, in the metal. But let's say what I didn't like about it first, yeah? And then I can tell you the progression into why I kind of think those are actually its plus points now. Instantly, it was obviously, I mean, it's a precursor to the Alpine Eagle, the way the 6 screws at 12, 3, 6, and 9, you've got 2 screws each, quite a way apart and quite a wavy kind of bezel shape. Not your regular round bezel. And the screws I thought were too large. I'm really into aesthetics, and it was just too much going on. And then the taper on the bracelet, the case and the bracelet were almost the same width. And I don't think there's a taper on it either.
There is, but maybe you didn't see it.
If you look at check out the show notes, and you'll see what I mean. It's a small dial, and it just looked like it was dominated by the bracelet. And that was another thing. It was bracelet dominated, and then screw dominated, and then the dial was kind of like, oh, there it is. And then it had diamond. I mean, I don't mind the diamonds. Diamonds are cool. And then the date at 6 o'clock is fine. I've got no issues with that. Those are my problems with it. But now, like I say, I see more and more of it. It looks very stylish. You can imagine you have to try and relate to the time that this was made and what went into it, what went into designing it. And yeah, it's grown on me. Yeah, it has. At first, honestly, stop sending me photos, please. I'm getting angry now. But it's it has grown on me.
It makes me happy. Yeah, it's a freaking cool watch. It is, and the more I agree, the more you look at it, the more like. But I'll be honest, when my friend sent it to me, I was like, "What do you think? I might have this available for sale. What do you think? Is it to your taste?" Because he knows like my style. And I'm not similar to Palmer. I was a bit like, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I kept looking at it. And I was like, you know what? I do like it. Let's meet up. Let me see it. And as soon as I saw it in the metal, I was like, yeah, here's the money. I just liked it straight away. So it's, one of those things. I can understand all the points you made there, but again, you've just got to see it in person, right? To get it even more. This is the reason we have the Alpine Eagle today, is the whole DNA of Alpine Eagle. Chopard built up on the St. Moritz to where it is today. So historically important as well in the line. But that's not why I got it. I just got it because I thought it looked cool. That's simple. You can have it mine's in 33mm, which is considered a larger size. It's quartz powered. You can have a jumbo size, which is automatic at 35mm. You can also have a triple calendar, which I recently discovered, which is really cool, powered by a JLC movement. Alters the whole unibody and the case back. So for me, puts me off a little bit because it spoils the sleek, like the flatness of the design, which appeals to me. But a nice complication to have. So there's many cool iterations, even skeletonized as well. So which are kind of a grail for some collectors. In full solid gold. You can get these in steel as well, or in two-tone. So, yeah, a lot of options. The cool little funky golf style ones as well. So there's a lot of options with the St. Moritz, and you can pick them up for, depending on which variation you get, very expensive or very affordable, depending what you choose. And I think that's it for the St. Moritz. I don't think there's anything more to add from your side?
No, I think we've talked enough about it. And, Yeah,
it's your turn then.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Nice one. My turn. So, I have also... So, this is my wristwatch check and my choice number 1. It is a Geezer watch, in my opinion, and it's the Omega Constellation Quartz Perpetual Calendar. So, again, it's a quartz, and there's nothing wrong with the quartz, let me tell you. There may be a bit of snobbery around mechanical or automatic over quartz, but a nice quartz watch, especially a stylish one, will be nice and thin, and I have no qualms with it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, so it's two-tone as well. So it's got that really cool 80s vibe. This is a 90s watch, but it's got that 80s vibe. Like I say, growing up in the 80s, two-tone was the Geezers. If you're from London, the Geezers would wear a gold watch or a two-tone watch. And this definitely reminds me of that 35.5mm diameter case, but it's an integrated bracelet, so it wears a lot larger and it feels just perfectly proportioned as well. Nice tapering bracelet. The one thing I love about the Constellation is the Roman numerals out on the fixed outer bezel, which is gold here, of course. And on the older ones, there's two clasps, two claws on either side, one at 3 and one at 9. And they used to hold the crystalline, but now that's just become a design feature. So it doesn't hold the crystalline anymore, but it's just a nice little feature that kind of gives it a little bit more of that je ne sais quoi. Just gives it that 1970s, 80s kind of geezer vibes. And that's what this show's all about today. And also, another thing, 80s, is the old, back in the day, golf diamond cut sweaters used to be the big thing. Pringle, Lyle and Scott. Yeah, it's got an Argyle diamond cut dial with a pinprick texture to it. It's just really intricately done, really beautifully done. And it just takes me back to being a young boy as well, because it's just cool. Champagne dial as well. I'm not telling everyone the whole story here because there's just so much to talk about on this. On these types of watches, you kind of go from one detail to the next to the next. Like I say, the champagne dial gives you that extra old man kind of vibe. Date at 3 o'clock. Perpetual calendar as well. Like I said, it's a quartz perpetual calendar. So it's got some serious complication to it as well. Andy, what do you reckon?
Yeah, huge fan of a Constellation, especially the older references. I want to say vintage. I just want to say it on the show that I think Palm's finally got. He's dipped his toes in the vintage pond.
Neo vintage. This is neo vintage.
But vintage is still in the name. We're getting closer and closer. But yeah, jokes aside, I think this is very you. It's a very cool piece. Love the champagne dial. Love the Constellation. The bracelet. The older bracelets for me are the best. Funny, we were talking about tapering on the St. Moritz, which isn't initially visible, but it does taper. But I had a double eagle Constellation, the more modern iteration, right, of a Constellation, and that didn't taper so well, and it felt really thick and chunky. And I've had friends who've had the older Constellations, like this reference you have here, and the bracelet's just superb. It's superior to the newer bracelet, in my opinion. It's flatter, it's more comfortable, it's more wearable. Just everything about these older Constellations, the diameter, the feel, and the way they pop and catch the light, especially in two-tone. I'm really into gold or, it's got to be steel or gold for me lately. For main watches, it's just my vibe. So I love it. What can I say about it? It's iconic almost, I'd say. Is that a step too far? To me, it's an iconic watch.
No,
it will be.
I think it is.
And it will be in the future, just because Palm's wearing it on CP7, right?
It's a CP7 icon. Yeah. And this is the third two-tone watch I've got in my collection as well. I really do like two-tone. Not many people like two-tone, but maybe the contrarian in me kind of likes it a little bit more just because of that. But it's something just... The funny thing about this is the quartz, because of the look, it takes you back to a certain time. Even the ticking of the quartz kind of, it fits. It's kind of something that I would have, you would have worn back then, in the 80s. And the quartz crisis had probably just cleared out, but there was a huge amount of quartz watches out there. And especially nice luxury quartz watches like this with a perpetual calendar in it. So I got an integrated bracelet. I got another two-tone. I got a perpetual calendar. I mean, this just ticks so many boxes. Many boxes.
Brilliant. I actually like watching the tick of a quartz. Like, it's just a different world, and it's from the era when quartz was fully accepted, and I think it's getting more accepted again now. I don't think there's anything wrong with a quartz movement, especially in these older watches, and even in some modern watches. It just depends on what's the reason behind the purchase of the watch, right? And if it's more of an aesthetic thing, which admittedly with some of these choices, with our first two choices, I think it is a bit more aesthetics rather than a priority over, well, this is the most complex, and we're not doing it for the movement, we're doing it for the stylistic. And when it's from that perspective, there's a practicality to quartz as well. You just, oh, great, it's correct time, correct date, let's go. Don't have to do anything. So
yeah, you set all your watches to your quartz watch.
Yeah. So nothing wrong with the odd quartz in the collection. Yeah.
And again, it's not a flex. You're not flex. You got a quartz watch. You're not. Oh, look at me. I've got. Because that's the ultimate non-flex.
Yeah.
It's a cool watch. It's a beautiful watch. But it also says, you take away the douche factor, the douchebag factor as well.
Yeah, it balances it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great choice and great pickup. I know it was a recent purchase. So, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, not the most recent, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that comes, yeah. But yeah, Andy, seal of approval for sure on this one. Yeah.
Excellent. Right. So, Andy, watch number 2.
Yeah. This is a recent pickup. It's only 2 weeks old, I believe, in my watch collection, let's say. And yeah, a really cool piece. It's an Omega DeVille, and the way I would describe it is as a bracelet watch or cuff watch. Large in length, so it's maybe around 47 mil. I don't know. I've not measured it. I'm just guesstimating. But it covers the full length of your wrist, and for me, that's what makes it masculine again. But it's very thin, and it's just got this incredible gold brick bracelet. The whole watch is 18 karat solid gold, the whole thing. And again, it's just something you've got to see in the metal to appreciate it. Like the way the light catches each little brick, and the way it's not being polished or anything like this, so you can see this beautiful finish into each little detail in the links. The case itself has a beautiful curvature to it as well, so it really curves to the shape of your wrist. Relatively thick from the side profile, but again, it just works. It gives it a bit more, again, just that little bit of extra weight as well. With it being all gold, it makes it feel a bit more masculine again with that thickness, even though it's thin. And yeah, it's just got that classic old school style clasp, which I've been longing for a long time, and now I finally have. Yeah, it's a watch which I didn't know I needed, and I'm so glad I got it, because I was hunting for a new piece for a while. And again, a good watch dealer friend of mine, I'll shout out the guys actually, Peluco. So my friends Carlos and Mark at Peluco have linked me up with the Chopard and the Omega. They source incredible watches, and they're really fair. So yeah, with this one, I got a really good deal. Super happy with it. I just saw it on my friend's Instagram, Mark's Instagram. Like, I really like that. Like, can you tell me a bit more about it? I think it's really cool. He's like, you know what? I've not even had time to list it or anything. Let's just hook up. We can meet, and I'll show you the watch, see if you like it, and we can talk. And then, as always, go and talk to him. And I'm sending pictures to the classic WhatsApp group. Like, hey guys, got this one. With the original box as well, which is cool. But for me, this is the absolute, if you want to say Geezer watch, it doesn't get any. For me, this is 100% pure Geezer watch in my eyes. Very small.
Full gold.
Yeah, full gold dial. Very small, in the center of the dial, a very small a dial for the hour and minutes. But yeah, it's just very cool. It's very cool. It's one you've got to see in, very Art Deco, very stylish. It's just one you've got to, again, see in the pictures. So go to the website, and also one to see in the metal. So yeah, Pam, what were your initial impressions when I shared this one?
I don't know. Different. Very cool. Very. When I see this, I do see the John Travolta. I see you with a John Travolta suit. I think you've got the white blazer on your shoulders. You're not even wearing it, and you're smoking a cigar in a casino or something in the 1970s. And then you got the pinky ring on, and I just see throwing cash onto the craps table.
Yeah.
Or onto the roulette, onto the roulette table. It's very, very of that era. 1970s. I don't know what year this was.
Yeah,
made,
70s. Yeah, to my knowledge.
Yeah. It's definitely a huge Saturday Night Fever watch.
Yep.
That's what I'd call it.
Yeah. Good way of putting it. Yeah, for me, it's just a very cool... I wanted a bracelet as well. It wears so much like a bracelet. Yeah, again, my taste in watches is very different to many other people's, but I'm at the confidence stage in my journey where if I like something, that's it. I don't care. It's what I like. That's what I'm wearing, and it's freaking cool. But
Yeah,
the reactions this watch gets is insane. Like the last few events I've been to. So again, it's I'd say all the watches I have are ones what you really need to see in a metal to appreciate to the full, but very rare, very hard to come across this particular one. I've not found any other online with the same bracelet, and it's mechanical as well. And the mechanism must be tiny in this watch, and I get 2 days power reserve out of it. So brilliant, to be honest. Quite impressive.
2 days,
yeah, it lasts 2 days without having to wind it.
Can you tell the time on it?
Really easy, to be honest. Yeah, yes, it is. You know, it's
One thing I would think. Sorry, just one thing. Why Geezer, as in old Geezer watch? I think because as we get older, our eyesight dims somewhat.
That's true.
And I think the reason why this would be a young man's Geezer watch in the 70s,
Yeah.
because you need that sharp eyesight to
that
tell
is
what
a
time
fair
it is.
observation. Yeah, like it is small, but it's not that hard to see an hour and a minute hand. Yeah, you just get lost in the aesthetics and the styling of this one.
Yeah, it's a very stylish watch.
Yeah, it is the definition of an Andy watch, I would say, is this one, if there is such a thing.
That's
But yeah, there we go. I think that's enough of me talking about me and my watches. I think over to you, pal.
So this is one watch you own. So I'm gonna go for quite an obvious choice, but the model is an obvious model. It's kind of like, oh my gosh. But in terms of Geezer watches, you imagine. So this variation of the watch I'm going to talk about is one that you associate with your father or older people, and that it's the Rolex Submariner, but it's the bluesy, and it's the 11613 with the aluminium bezel and the gold writing and sunburst blue dial. Now, I don't own this particular watch. I own a much more modern version of it, but I think this is so Geezer. It's the old guy at the golf course. It's the old guy anywhere about town. It shows you like your luxury watches. You like your luxury things. But it's got that old man vibe to it as well, which I kind of like, which I get a kind of a kick out of as well. But yeah, 40 mil. So it's not a tiny, dainty little thing. It doesn't fit the 1970s ethic. Very 80s. So this is I think this is our first proper 80s Geezer watch. Yeah, it's like I say, I own a modern version of it, and I love it. And I just think the dial, the bezel, the blue against the two-tone gold. It's gold and steel. You can get a full gold version, but I the two-tone for me is the one to get. And again, 3135 movement. It's a solid Rolex movement, but we're not talking about mechanics here. We're just talking about aesthetics and not old world, but old manny kind of things. And I just think this is the guy at the golf course. He would wear this kind of watch, and it'd probably be quite a grey-haired man, and just someone not so young. But yeah, that's what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I can't add much more to this. I love it. I love yours, and this one's a perfect one for me as well, being a bit more vintage-esque. Especially aluminium bezels is a thing I like from the past. Yeah, great looking watch. What's not to like about the bluesy? And I agree, it's just, if you think old man 80s Geezer, this is pretty much it, right? It ticks every single box.
Exactly, yeah. Wearing like I was saying, the Pringle diamond cut Argyle sweater, the golf pants, the golf roll neck underneath the sweater, and the cap. The flat cap, on the golf course. I think this one just fits that bill.
Yep, perfectly.
And the blue, what's interesting is that it's so not a Rolex color. And it's
almost like
it goes so well, but
it's almost like purple.
It can go purple.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can go purple. There are versions of this where the dial has turned purple.
That's cool, yeah.
And yeah, it's just a cool watch. I know it's an obvious choice, the Rolex Submariner, but this one I think is so unique. I can't think of another. I mean, unless you're going full gold and diamonds or whatever, like 30 dial, etc., with the sapphire and diamonds. This one just is. Yeah, I can't think of another one that is just a 100% geared towards the Geezer.
Yeah, no, great choice. Couldn't agree more with that one. So
next,
yeah, I think the next one is 100% pure, old man Geezer, and
this is Saturday Night Fever again.
Yeah.
Now this is so Andy in Studio 54 in New York, that famous disco nightclub, where all the stars went, and it just oozed 70s garishness and old world look, stylish, but almost. So,
on the edge.
I don't know.
It's on the
Not
edge.
tacky. Yeah, so on the edge of tacky, but it makes it on the edge of tacky, but it's just so cool.
Yeah. I think that's a great way of putting it. And I think really these watches, have we even said which watch it is? I think so, right? The Piaget Polo. Let's get to it. The Piaget Polo is the watch, if we didn't mention it, that we were talking about. The particular reference I chose is the day date. They do many different iterations, and this is the circular polo. They did a square polo as well, which is kind of cool. Again, going more for that bracelet look, but for me, it's the original circular design, which I like. These old, again, it's quartz. Just again, it's what happened in that era. It was completely acceptable. These day dates came in around 32. Yeah, 32 millimeter, 33 millimeter. That's where they're sat. You can get larger size Piaget polos, which were around 34. Some would say it's 35. And they don't get much bigger than that. Again, depending on dealers' descriptions to try sell them as a larger watch than what they maybe are to in the world of, it can't be smaller than this particular diameter. So you'll hear a 34 being a 35 and you'll hear a 32 being a 33, and there's like, oh, well, with a crown, So it's all of that going on. Again, I don't care about any of that stuff. But why do I like the polo so much? I just think it's freaking... Pam, you nailed it pretty much perfectly. Like, it's so much on the edge of being tacky and garish and so outrageous, yet if you just wear it with the right kind of soft, neutral coloured clothes, nice, crisp, clean shirt, no big collars or anything like this, or flares.
Flares.
Yeah, you can just make it look good.
Cuban heel.
Yeah, like for how I tend to dress these days, like it fits my vibe perfectly, and I do think I could pull this off with ease, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's the ultimate Geezer watch in that respect. Like, it's just, this one is in your face. Like, it just pops, and it's a large profile.
No hiding.
Yeah. Again, it's that bracelet design. And do you find when it gets to integrated bracelet and these more bracelet-esque styles, that diameter goes out of the window a little bit, because it's all just kind of lines blurring into one, right? Because it's almost like the dial's part of the watch bracelet. Like when you look at the Piaget Polo in particular, it's just the dial's part of the bracelet. The bracelet gets a little wider and then goes narrower again, and then it's just stamped in the middle of it, right?
I see it very similar to this Constellation, without a bezel, because the bullet kind of bracelet is...
it's true. It's true. So.
And even the claws on the side of the case as well, kind of, I like that. It's very similar.
Kind of
I never saw that before. Yeah, I never saw that comparison before.
Me neither.
But the Constellation that I own, it looks very much. But there's obviously, it's got the grooves in it. It's got a lot more grooves. Funny 70s groovy, man. Oh, gosh, this is Sylvester Stallone had one that had not the day date, but he had a Piaget Polo in the Tulsa King, where he was a mafia boss. Cool. And this is proper
gangster.
New York mafia as it gets. Yeah, there's a film, Donnie Brasco, and there's a bit where they're in a nightclub in New York, and the Pointer Sisters are playing, and everyone's dancing. They've got that look, that Saturday Night Fever look, and I can imagine them wearing this Sonny Black. He's the main guy. He's the main the head of the crew. And I can imagine him wearing this, the alpha in the group of that kind of person wearing this watch.
Yeah, for me. Yeah, it's been one of my favourite pieces for a long time. I think you can probably vouch for that. But yes,
I'd never heard of it. It was only because of yourself that I know about this.
Before all the hype, before it was re-released. Like I liked it for
79 and all that.
Yeah, I've liked it for such a long time. I don't know if I think it's chilled out now. The prices a bit on the secondary market on these older ones. So who knows? Maybe one day it would be cool to own one and just be that guy. Take it one step further.
Be that guy.
Yeah, the Amiga on the right Sonny wrist, Black. The Polo on the left.
Have you seen Donnie Brasco?
I'm pretty sure I have at some point. Yeah.
Check it out. That scene, that may even be Studio 54 that they're in. I don't know because the mafia owned New York in the 70s.
There's probably a high chance I have.
Yeah, it could have been there.
Yeah.
Check it out. If anyone hasn't seen Donnie Brasco or remembers Donnie Brasco, think back to that scene or watch it and check out that scene and
visualize this polo. Yeah.
Sonny Black will be wearing.
I think we can keep it short and sweet on this one, unless you've got any more points to add?
No, I think
just a cool,
highly approved.
Yeah, just cool, right?
Piaget's got that kind of 70s thing. So next watch. Oh, it's a Piaget. Yeah. This is my choice.
How did that happen?
And how did that happen? This is such a cool watch. It's so understated. I mean, we've had a lot of loud in-your-face watches, but this one is the Piaget Protocol tank in 18 karat gold. It's 25 by 27.5 millimeters, and you can get one in 31 mil as well. But this, I think, a tank needs to be discreet. My tank must is 25 mil. This may be slightly smaller, but it doesn't matter. It's got gold. It stands out. But it's the serrations, it's the straight lines that Piaget have, and the simplicity of the dial. No applied numerals or painted numerals. This is just clean as you get. Two different textures of gold, one on the outer bezel stroke case, square case, and the dial also has it, and it just says Piaget and two sword hands. And Swiss, obviously, it has to have Swiss written on it because it's a Swiss watch and they have to tell you. So this is a mechanical wind, and the actual crown is on the back, which makes it gives it that cleanness, flatness, and just makes it so cool. And I was thinking about, I need a dress watch. We've joked about this before. I need a dress watch. I don't need anything. I've already got too many as it is. But you always want that dress watch that'll just tick the boxes. And I think this could. I mean, you could get a Calatrava, you could get a Classique, but this, I think, could, because I love the tank shape anyway. To me, tank is one of my favorite watches. It's just, I can't explain it. I don't normally like any other small watch, but for some reason, a squarish rectangular dress watch is, I've always got a soft spot for that. And I think this could be the one if I decided to just go for it.
Yeah.
But, what do you think?
Piaget, Protocol. Don't need to tell me anything on this one, 100% approved. A piece I've owned in the past, not this particular variation, but of one variation of it. Fantastic. Again, just such a brilliant piece to wear, especially the reference you have here, just the classic gold where the stripes have ridges, if you run through the dial as well, which is so classic Piaget.
Yeah.
Just the hands are beautiful as well. Just everything with Piaget is just pure. It's pure class. That simple, and they're very flat as well. I know it seems to be a thing with me now, but the Amiga's not flat, but they're very thin. And again, that's the movement, which again it's the P9 ultra thin. There's two variants, first gen and second gen, depending on which you get. But it's a superb movement, famous. A very famous movement with
the P9
with Piaget, and they're excellent. I can't say much more about it. The way they wear and the presence on the wrist is just, you don't need to say anything. It's just class. That's it.
And I also think, because I went to a recent Piaget event at the Time and Tide store, Andrew McCutcheon's Time and Tide store, and I've got to say, I think I fell in love with the brand there. Cartier, I think maybe there's a similarity in a way with the way the brand perception and the way it sells itself with Cartier and Piaget. I just think, gosh, maybe just a Piaget dress watch. That'll do. Don't need to add any more. You've got the tank. You've got the Cartier tank. You'll have a Piaget Protocol tank, and you're done. No need for any more dress watches. And I think, gosh, this is a stunner. So check out the show notes at www.chronopassion7, as in the number 7.com, and have a look at this watch and have a look at all the watches we talk about. You won't regret it. So, Andy, let's go to your next choice.
Yes, so my next choice is, again, it's a bit outrageous because I guess that's me. It's the Eterna Delirium, which is a crazy
Delirium.
watch. Yeah, a crazy...
Delirious.
It's, again, bracelet. Is it a bracelet? Is it a watch? Is it a cuff watch? Yeah, it's like very similar to the Polo in the sense of the dial being built into the bracelet design of the watch itself. The really cool thing about this Eterna movement is that it was a world's thinnest quartz movement at the time, less than 2 millimeter. I think it still holds certain records for how flat and thin it is. Again, the face-on profile of the watch doesn't do justice as to how thin the actual watch is. Not many people, I don't think, know this reference. It's a little less known just because Eterna in general is not as talked about as some of the bigger brands out there.
Interesting. Very Midas bracelets. The bracelet's very similar to the Constellation and that Piaget Polo. It's all blending into one, isn't it? But it's got that kind of that asymmetric. Is it asymmetric? The shape of the case, or
almost.
Is it straight?
I think it's how it tapers into the. I think the actual where the dial is, it's square, just rectangular.
Okay, but then it's not like the Midas.
No, but then the bracelet kind of goes asymmetric-ish in the way it tapers. Okay. I think it tapers off quite aggressively on the first two links, which gives it that kind of appearance.
Yeah, that kind of Midas-y kind of look. So it's interesting. This is called the Delirium. There's the actor Eddie Murphy did a stage show in the 80s called Delirious.
Oh, right,
and I can imagine him. He had this red leather suit or outfit suit. I don't know what it was, how you would call it. And you can imagine him wearing the Delirium while he's doing Delirious. It's a classic stand-up stage show that he did. Okay. Again, the 80s kid in me is really jumping out in this show, yeah. And I can imagine him wearing this hilarious video. It was on video. Watched it on VHS back then. Yeah, hilarious, delirious, delirium. And
do you like it actually? Because I don't know if you've seen this one before, or maybe you have. I don't know, but
I haven't seen it in person. But I like the Midas. So it's kind of, but the thinness is what, and the texture, the polished texture of the
it has
dial,
like
the hour track,
it
just
really nice contrasts. It's because it's all pretty much all gold, apart from where it's saying Eterna on the crystal kind of enclosure. Everything else is, apart from the hour markers, is all gold, texturized gold, solid gold watch as well, which is cool.
And stick hands, which is really cool, really discreet, thin, subtle stick hands.
Yeah, This is a vibe. For me, this is a watch I would love to own. They're quite rare. They are, it depends what you want to call accessible. Like, this show is certainly not about, we're not really talking about prices. But on something like this, because it's so kind of different, these you can pick up around 10k, for example. However, I will let everybody into a little tip. If you look for the Concorde Delirium, you can pick those up, which are very, very similar because they were sharing the same movement, I believe, with Eterna. Don't quote me on that. That's my foggy memory. And it's exactly the same profile, size. I think you could even get those on like a bracelet as well. And they come in sub 5k as well. So if you want that cool aesthetic without breaking it's quite a serious amount of money what the Eternas demand. Relatively speaking, the Concords are a lot more accessible and just as cool, to be honest. I'll drop a few pictures of a Concord in the show notes to check out there as well. Yeah. I think that's all I've got to say on this one, but a really cool piece. Not something you see every day.
And now, moving on to my next... What are we on, number 4? Or
number 4, surely, right? 4. We've got one more to go.
We're only doing 5, so we're on to... Andy's just done his pick, number 4, and I'm just about to do mine. So I thought, right, okay, you can't have a show without old world watches or old looking watches without Patek Philippe. And I've gone for the Patek Philippe Neptune with a sunburst silver dial, reference 50811. And gosh, all full 18 karat gold. What a stunning watch. Now, this is probably one of the most underrated Patek references. The Nautilus, back in the day, the 3700, was a watch that nobody wanted. It was a sports watch, and it was just like, why are you doing this? The world weren't ready for it, and obviously they are now, because it's just unbelievably hyped. But in 1998, they released this Neptune model, which unfortunately is still not that desirable. But I reckon, give it time, you never know. The Neptune, ancient god of the ocean, it's got a fish scale kind of themed bracelet, tapered, but very intricate detailing again on it, very nicely engraved and polished. And it looks very expertly put together. It's got an invisible clasp as well. Another thing about a lot of the other watches we've talked about, including my Omega, what I love about them and the old school look to them is the invisible clasp. So the bracelet, because they're almost jewelry, pretty much, these watches. They're pretty much jewelry. They're not a tool watch in any way, shape or form. And they've got the cleanness of the bracelet with the invisible clasps. Just give it an extra edge of sartorial elegance, shall we say, because, you know, it will boost what you're wearing. If you're dressed the right way, this will look absolutely amazing. Not everyone's choice. I mean, not everyone's favourite Patek Philippe, but if you look closely at the design and detail of it, I'd say this is much better looking than a Nautilus. It just has a lot more elegance to it. The bracelet could put people off. That's the only thing I think, because of the scaly fish scale kind of extreme fish scale kind of shape and the texture to it. But I just think this is brilliant, beautiful watch. What do you reckon?
Yeah, big fan of the Neptune. I think where to begin. Like, I don't understand why it's not caught on. And even it's a bit of a unicorn in my world, because it's a watch which I know we're both familiar with, but I've never actually come across one in the wild, which probably highlights
I've never seen one.
You know, I don't get it. I mean, 36mm, solid gold. I love the bracelet, but there's no surprise there. I see what you mean as well. Quite a good description, to be honest, of how to describe that bracelet. Because you could be like, is it beads of rice? But it's not. It's like oversized fish scale. Yeah, I think you nailed it with that. And that white dial as well is a beautiful contrast in this particular reference with the gold. Again, you dress these watches in the right way, and it just you feel $1 million as well, even if you've only got $10 in the bank after buying something like any of these watches. But you feel like you're a millionaire.
You're living in the street.
Yeah, you feel
you're living in the ocean. Yeah,
hobo watches coming to IG soon. But you feel like that's what I'd say about all of these watches as well. Not just the Neptune, but they make you feel good. Like, they do feel good. You feel like you've got something really special on the wrist. And again, like Palm, echoing what Palm said, there really is the jewelry aesthetic to these pieces and how they're crafted and how well the bracelets are crafted. It's just details what you don't get on the classic sports watches, because they're different tools, different jobs. And yeah, I'm glad to see that there's more light coming on to these styles of watches and more appreciation, because I do think the gems from the past, which we can learn a thing or two from modern creation of watches as well, not just wearing cool old school watches or vintage watches or neo, but also incorporating some of those excellent design cues into more modern iterations as well. But back to the Neptune, yeah, I don't understand why it's still very much a sleeper, really. Like, it has creeped up.
It is.
But it's still for an all gold, or even if you get the steel, I think we have the steel version, right? It's just people are sleeping on it.
Yeah.
They're not that crazy, and I don't know why. I think one day they probably will be, but great choice and a really unique and cool Patek Philippe, which nobody ever seems to talk about, which is a crying shame, but we're talking about it here.
No one talks. Yeah, we're talking about it here, and don't push the prices up till we get one each.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, don't get the Neptune. Come on, some old man watch. You don't want that.
You don't want this.
Don't want any of these watches. Yeah. Just let us two clowns wear them. Who else wants to wear this?
Well, let us get them first, and then you can fill your boots. Yeah. But then the funny thing with this is it's got this elegance to it with the finishing, the brushing and the serration. I mean, and the
bezel's
the
incredible
finishing on the bezel as well. Yeah,
beautiful.
But it's got crown guards as well, so it's maybe that was the initial, because the Nautilus is a Nautilus. Okay, it's sports. It is, no matter if you've got it. Yeah, it is what it is. This kind of comes out a bit confused, maybe. Because the crown guards give it that really sporty look, but then it just looks Roman numerals, and it's just
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
and it reminds me of Cartier when they've tried to do dive watches, and they look too elegant again, and it's just, well, again, I like them, and I like this.
Yeah,
but it's just
you've come across a good point there. Maybe that was the ick for people, the fact you can't have Roman numerals on the dive watch. Obviously, this is a solid gold piece, so I think it's more forgivable.
This is a gold one.
But on the steel variation of a Neptune, then you'd question more of the Roman numerals, maybe. But I've heard people out diving with these watches anyway, So, do you like it? Is it cool? Yeah. Does it matter that it's
diving?
Not correct to have this? Who sets these? Make the rules, right? As we say on, Chrono Passion.
Yeah, make your own rules. Make the rules. Hashtag make the rules.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're cool. I think it's great. The bezel's kind of pulling me in now because it's so intricate. Anyway, let's digress.
I know. It's really, incoming.
Yeah. I wish.
Patek.
Maybe one day. Who knows? 40th next year. I'm getting on a bit.
Ooh.
Yeah. Who knows?
So, is this the final one?
Yeah, my final one. So, Butcheron.
This is your final choice.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Butcheron is the brand of choice, and it's the Carry in full gold with a beautiful, blue sapphire bezel, gold dial. Again, is a theme here, I believe. Like, the bracelet looks like it runs through the dial. And Butcheron is a French brand. A French jewelry brand who just the way they craft and create these watches is from a jewelry perspective. And if you ever have a hands-on with Butcheron, you'll see just how well put together these are. It's like wearing a fine piece of jewelry, what tells the time. And again, this is just that kind of vibe I like at the moment, and I think it's that kind of vibe what captures that geezer kind of old school world or old money vibes, But yeah, I love this. It's almost like on a how would you say, like a bangle style bracelet. They're very, very clever.
How do you put that on?
Yeah, but normally with Butcheron there's different ways. In this case, you'll slide it off from the lugs, I believe. So they do some crazy designs. Like it might just clip off on the lugs in this case. On some other designs, not this particular one, because this is like the integrated or bracelet incorporated style. But they have other iterations where it's on a leather strap and it just slides off to the right, and that's it. And you lock it on and off at the lugs. And then what the issue with that is if the leather strap isn't to your size, you can't. It's a pain. You need to have a custom strap made for it. But when it's your size and the way it just slides on, it looks awesome because there's no buckle at all underneath the watch there. And I think they've done the same from what I can see in the picture. At least it's completely invisible, which would indicate to me that you unlatch it, let's say, at the lugs. Not in a slide mechanism, but maybe it just pops off. But yeah, and the waving engraved these watches, like with the details, like it's almost written by hand. Like it's very human interacted.
Oh, wow.
It's all like it's a piece of jewelry what's been crafted, from. And then, the way the serial numbers carved in, it's like somebody's just written it by hand, and that's the charm of Boucheron. And yeah, a hidden gem, I would say, a hidden gem from a different era. Again, I think this is a superb example of French high-end jewelry watchmaking from a different, from the past.
Now, I have to say, out of all the watches we've said, we've tried to steer clear of the word we've tried to steer clear of the term old world because doesn't really fit because of the over the top. But this, even though it's all gold, really does look so old world with the sapphire, very square 90-degree edges on the case, but then it's got those baguette sapphires, and even the textured dial, that gold texture on the dial, and I think it's an onyx cabochon they've got on the crown. Very. Oof.
In the way the dial
I
matches
really like
the bracelet as well.
Yeah, the texture of it is
the texture runs throughout.
I've got to say, this. We'll come to the end and we'll talk about what our favourite choices are from each other's watches. And I've got to say, this is quite a big contender because, again, check out the show notes. This is very discreet, I can imagine, very dainty.
Yeah, I will say the size. So this, I think it's like 25 millimeters. So you're wearing it like a tank, right?
Tank.
That's the vibe. The delirium, I don't think I said the size as well, so apologies, around 34 mil if I didn't say the size on that one. But again, with the theme with these watches, when they run into a bracelet, kind of goes out of the window, the diameter, because the wear so different.
This is unbelievable. This is, I've got to say, I've never had my breath taken away by
I'm happy about this
kind of watch before.
I love Boucheron, and nobody really talks about them, so I'm glad you like it. If you like this, honestly, is a whole world to be discovered, and you'd be surprised what you can. White gold and yellow gold, and
be a Boucheron fan. Sell everything and have a collection of Boucheron.
The way they designed the straps and the way they're attached to the case is really cool. Yeah, the way it just slides up. Yeah, honestly, some
beautiful watch. Yeah. But we do have to move on from
apologies,
this. One more.
We've gone into dreamland.
But this is, I know that I've watched this space. No. But, okay. Number 5 for me. I said you couldn't do a show without a Patek and a Geezer watch. And now we can't do a show without the master of watch design himself, Mr. Gerald Genta. So my choice number 5 is the Gerald Genta Perpetual Calendar Quartz, which is the reference G25994. Full gold again. It's got the Vendome lugs, and it's, surprise, surprise, an octagonal case. This is the old Gerald Genta brand. And Perpetual Calendar, again, which is possibly the ultimate complication for me. And my favourite looking complication is the moon phase. It has a moon phase, and it's at 12 o'clock, because you'd normally get it at 6 o'clock. But this one has it right at the top, and the Perpetual Calendar sub-dials are just absolutely incredible. It even has a leap year indicator on it. It's just, I wouldn't say, this is no Boucheron, but this is pure Genta. If you look at this watch, you can only see Gerald Genta. It's almost got the bullet links in it. Like, it's a theme that runs across a lot of these watches, are that straight, thin bullet style links in the bracelet. And again, the concealed clasp, which gives it that lovely extra touch. Yeah, beautiful watch again. And this is 31 mil. So it's not the biggest watch, but it's not the smallest either that we've talked about today. Just to see the detail on it, and just how Genta, and this is what I love about Gerald Genta, his watch, and not because we've been told that the Nautilus is made by him or the Royal Oak is made by him. You look at this and you know instantly that if this wasn't made by him, it was highly influenced by him. This is pure Gerald Genta, but again, it's kind of merging into my constellation with the Perpetual Calendar Quartz. So maybe I don't know what's going on. Maybe
running, a bit of a
An
theme.
obsession, yeah. An obsession with this watch or this style of watch, because we've had a few quartz, 2 perpetual calendars, both quartz.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, beautiful,
excellent choice. Like, I'm a huge fan. It comes from the Success family, which is my favourite of Joe.
We've talked about this before. So, you've mentioned this one before, I remember. It was in episode 27. So we did a show on the Creedor locomotive. We named the show Genta's Guilty Pleasure. And if the Creedor wasn't, I think this definitely was a guilty pleasure of his, because it's full gold and just, again, garish, on the edge of tacky, yet complicated and
brilliant,
beautiful.
Yeah. A huge fan. It's my favourite Genta design. Is a Success, and I don't think it's present on this one. I know on the time only they did this beautiful, like similar to the King Seikos, where you've got this kind of like diamond sapphire crystal over the top, so it's kind of notched, like chiseled.
Okay.
Yeah, it like you could say, it's distracting to tell, but it's art, right? It's the I'm a big fan of that.
What's that? Sorry, I can't visualize it.
So if you look at it's like having a diamond. So the way they cut the crystal, what's on top of the watch, it's cut like a diamond to appear like it's a diamond. It's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Not on this particular reference of yours, but if you look at a more classic time-only Success, imagine it's the sapphire crystal, which has been chiseled into like how a diamond would look. There's some King Seikos out there that have that crystal, and there's some Joel Gentas, of course, the Success line, which have this chiseled glass crystal to look like a more of a diamond look. Really cool, really cool. I can find for the show notes. I can find a picture.
Ah, yes, put that in. I'm just looking at it now.
It's awesome. Yeah,
incredible. So it's not like it's not a patisserie dial. It's actually in the crystal.
Yeah, the crystal
finishing is in the crystal. Yeah.
Wow. The only downside is you catch that crystal on something, it's not an easy replacement. But
okay.
That aside, cheap. Freaking, but they're cool. Yeah, really cool. Yeah, excellent. Great choices. Excellent.
Right, that's 5 done. 5 each. Now, we have one no-brainer, and we're just going to give a quick shout-out. And, Andy, do you want to let us know what the no-brainer Geezer watch is?
Just so we don't lose our listeners, I keep it short and sweet, but obviously we can't do a Geezer watch without having the Rolex day date, and pick your choice, pretty much any. I'd go for oyster quartz
variation,
but as it's one I missed from the past, but it doesn't really matter which you get, they're all pretty much kick-ass and Geezer, I would say.
Geezer, Tony Soprano. I'd go for the Tridor. I do love that mix of golds, and it again gives it that two-tone. Even though it's white gold, it's still two-tone. Steel. It gives it that two-tone, two-tone, it's three-tone, tritone.
Tritone, yeah.
So, take your pick of my choices. Which was your favourite?
This is horrible, because you've picked some which I'm big fans of. I love the Piaget protocol. It's been a favourite of mine for a long time, but I love the Neptune as well. I love the Genta, but maybe this particular, I'd go for a more simpler Success with that. Again, the crystal, which I described, because that's just something what stands out to me. I'm going to go for the Piaget protocol. It might be the most understated from all what you chose, but I just think they're awesome and they look so classy on the wrist. So, I think that's an awesome and great choice.
Awesome. I was hoping you'd say that one, because I think that's probably the most likely one I could get as well.
Yeah. Great pick.
Okay, over to yours. And I don't think anyone needs to really question after what I've been saying. It has to be the Boucheron Carré full gold. I just honestly absolutely love this watch. It's beautiful.
Do you want me to tell you what kind of price you can get these for? I know it's not all about price, but something like this you could probably pick up probably around 10 grand in pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Without the jewels, how much? Anyway, we'll talk about that afterwards.
You can pick these up for a good. They're still a bit underappreciated. Yeah, they don't really break up into the highs at the moment, unless it's some really crazy one. But yeah,
okay. I've seen one online that just looks absolutely amazing.
You already
The
looked
texture.
whilst recording the show.
Yeah.
This is how bad it is.
Yeah.
Right.
That's just how good it is.
Yeah, that's how good
Right.
it is. Yeah,
Okay,
that's how bad
so-
the addiction is.
Yeah. Right. Andy, lead us out.
Yeah, an absolute pleasure. Great to kick back and do one of these classics, CP7 Classic Unplugged show. Thank you so much for listening to our mad ramblings, and as always, make sure to check out the show notes for more detailed imagery and some videos as well of everything we described where possible. So go to www.chronopassion7.com for the best possible audio-visual experience. And I keep it as short and sweet as possible. That's the way I go. Adios, whatever do you want to say in from Barcelona, and you will hear me and see me on the next one.
And as Andy says farewell from Barcelona in Spain, from London, it's Toodle Pip and laters. And I'll see you, and you'll hear us in the next one.